Happy Saturday, everyone, in here at Laurel Park. It is a sizzler day. We've got a couple stakes action coming up, but I am here. I am Callie Francois, your host, with Keith Fustel, our morning line odds maker. Keith, how you doing today? So far, so good?
I'm doing well. Hot Mike, hot Mike. I don't think I said anything bad, so yeah, we're good.
Nothing
I don't know
that
if
I
I
heard.
caught
Nothing.
anything.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Hot mics indeed. Let's just kick off right away. Let's take a look at our track really quick for today, and it rode pretty nicely today. It was nice and dry. The weather's great today. Moving on. Oop, there we go. Turf is looking pretty good. These guys are just doing some nice work and making this track nice. We got fast and firm turf. It's going to stay about 82. It's going to bump up a little bit, but luckily we have just a touch of a breeze. I don't feel it here. Usually we feel it here on set, but I'm not feeling it so much today. Not much of a breeze earlier this morning. But hey, let's kick off into race number 1, that 5.5 on the turf. For the claiming 16, Keith, we both land on Love Ran Red. This is my price play of the day. I don't know if this is your value play of the day. We'll get into that a little bit later, but Forest Boys for Brittany Russell showed a little bit less of turn of foot on the turf than the first time. Just maybe needed a race on the turf to get used to it, or just could have been too far back. So really, I'm keying in on Forest, placing this horse a little bit more forwardly in the field today.
Yeah, they went pretty rapid last time out. You see the internals 22.45 and some change. Got a little further back than probably she wanted to. Island Philo came out of that race to run well, win on the raise, made the hustle. Horse that chipped in, came back to win. 69, 61 buyers respectively. Yeah, there is a little flow in here. Sassy Babe, Icy Reply, La Familia is very fast. Deemed Essential, the 2-horse coming back to the turf now for Tony Ferrier, had speed going longer in its prior turf races. So just need Love Ran Red to run, lay a little bit closer by the time they turn for home. I think we'll sustain a run here with Forest. A little drop down in class. Yeah, and the line may be a little high at 5. I still want to demand at least 7 to 2 or 4 on this horse. Kind of an open race. I mean, Zola B, the numbers are there off the last race.
Yes, they are.
Callie, but, turning back in distance, see if she can hold form.
Exactly. No, with Zola B, it's really just that turn back and then proving well at that distance. And listen, this is turf racing. If they run well, they run well. If it's 1, 2, 3, and they're not very far from the leader, that's a good enough run to go off. Awesome Lawson with Jeff Runco, just very interestingly bred well enough for turf. Dam Sire Explicit is 2 for 6 first time on the turf, so that's promising. He doesn't try them on the turf often, so I don't have really a lot to go off of as far as Jeff Runco on the turf, especially here. But hey, you're getting a speedy type of horse on a speedy type of firm track. Why not go for it?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, Zola B, Love Ran Red, I think they will run into it. If you're looking for a little bit of a price play, this is a horse I took last time, the 5, Sweet Talia for Hammy Smith. Got the overland trip, as I like to call it, going a route of ground 4 wide, a long way. Took the same amount of play as Zola B, just didn't fire.
Right.
I think Sprint may be her game. I'm still not going to give up on her at a big price. We've got Humphrey today, and I tell you, looking at the breeding, a half to a graded stakes type horse on the grass. Why not at a big price to get your day started? A little Jack Harmon, the Hammer, 1551. That's his numbers.
Why not?
Okay.
Hammy originally entered that filly short on the turf before running her long, so back in that similar type. But before we get into race 2, let's focus on your pick 4, Keith. That starts off our day once we get it on. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, we caught a couple of these recently. Caught one yesterday. Unfortunately, not a huge profit, but hey, it's better than
when you hit them, you hit them.
Better than a loser, I guess. Yeah, it's this $27 ticket to get you started. 2-year-old fillies, the maidens, man, lots of firsts. We go 4, 5, 6 in there. Race 3, 2 deep with the 3 and the 4. You can kind of trust Clubman and Silent Malice. These vets, they're pretty steady. Race 4, we go 3 deep again with the 3, the 6, and the 9. Class Wizard could be a little bit of a price there for Mike Trombetta. Wrap it up. Race 5, 1, 3, 6. Mixed best bet yet. Offers some value in there.
Yes,
we'll see if the 1 can kind of go a long way up front with the X-Man. $27 for that early pick 4 ticket.
Absolutely. So let's move on to race 2 for that maiden claiming 30. You have a stat right away on Meat Sweats. Why don't we pick that up as you have this horse on top at 7 to 2? Go for it.
What a name. Meat Sweats. Come here, meat sweats. Is that what you say around the barn?
No, not. I definitely not.
I
I
like
don't. I don't hang around with Salzman. Unfortunately, I don't get to hang around with John too much. But I would love to see what they call that horse in the barn.
There you go. But I like the combo here of trainer and jockey. How about that? Salzman Jr., Marquez. Look at this one. Last 2 years on the dirt, 12 for 25, 48% with an ROI of 470. This filly was scratched. That was out of that June 19th race that the rail horse was in. Never Free. Winning buyer that day was 43. Maybe that's about kind of what you're going to need to run this. But there's Win Early here in the family.
Right.
Mare, 1 debut. Lone Sib, 1 debut with a pretty good number, a 62 at Delta this past December. Came back to follow it up with a good run against allowance horses. I like the draw to the outside. I like that percentage, jock trainer percentage. Little shot here with the 6 Meat Sweats.
It's a good shot. It's a good shot to have because I was wrestling on and off with the ticket, but I chose to stay on for just a couple of intriguing reasons. Like Charlie is, and John Salzman Jr. are getting a little bit hot, they have been hot, as you mentioned. But I went ahead with the Anthony Farrier Black Seat Betty, who had a couple of nice gate works coming out. It's interesting. While the breeding connections are light, the dam is unraced. This is the first full. There's not a lot to show here. I mean, Macha Uno Grasshopper, who's 1 for 2. The Dam Sire Grasshoppers also hasn't shown much, but I'm okay with this Farrier move. I would have liked to see a run at Charlestown since she's down there, but interestingly enough, they just instead of choosing her to run her at Charlestown, they opted to have her run here, which to me gives a little bit of a vote of confidence.
He's had good luck, bringing these horses. They work up there, show some speed, and they come down here and they show it and they run well. You're right. Second Dam topped out at a 72 on the dirt, if that helps you at all, but it's a little bit of a reach. Tab the tote board in these races like this, a lot of firsters. See if there's some play, some early play, and the play stays. You have to watch that. See if it kind of stays on. The 5, Alas and Alack, I'll toss into the mix as well for Hammy Smith. You got Toledo. Bullet work 2 back. This is a horse that ran down in the Ellery Trials when I was down there. Ran in a race that was won by a horse by the name of Ski Slope. Ski Slope came back. It was a McCutcheon horse. Ran a big second on debut at Keeneland in a maiden special weight race. So kept pretty good company.
There we go.
And Hammy's able to do that with Gorey, his brother, down there to kind of get these horses. They can really measure them out and see what they've got stock-wise, and they spot these horses well. So there you go, 6-4-5 and a bit of a scramble in race 2.
Yeah, a bit of a scramble. It's going to be that's a fun field. That's going to be a bit of a fun race. Race number 3, starter optional, claiming for 20 a mile here on the dirt. We've got a video on my top selection, Clubman, for Jamie Ness, Charlie Marquez on top. Charlie Marquez having a couple good runs today, but this horse is starting to make amends since getting in the Nest Barn, winding him to have up a great summer. I think we see how this race didn't quite pan out right in the beginning, but what I like, I'm going back off of that distance, and he's back at the distance he prefers. I think that 7 the last time out was just a little bit too short, and I also like how they considered other tracks and scratch. They tried, they thought about Parks, they thought about Delaware, but they opted to put him back here, back over here at Laurel.
Yeah, caught a little trouble, maybe about a 16th of a mile into that race, got put in tight, shuffled back. Then he kind of moved up behind horses, shifted to the outside, and it was a lone speed on this video this particular day with Ragtime Blues. Was really able to get away with soft fractions. Nobody was going to beat Ragtime Blues, but I like the way Clubman finished. Where's he been? They give the 8-year-old a little bit of a break. Not a real strong work tab leading in. We'll see about that. So I think he's into the mix as well to make a run from mid-pack. Silent Malice on a bit of a roll right now. He was in that same race, made the first move, and was caught wide every step of the way in that video. Followed it up with a win last time out. Got a good setup with some speed. We're going to need some speed to set things up right now. But the barn is doing great guns.
The barn is doing great, and this horse does run. Silent Malice, the Ford, does run well with a little bit of time in between races. And I think that solid near month off, I think he's going to enjoy. I think that's the biggest thing that this horse is going to enjoy. I think this horse runs well with some time off. If you go back to that January performance, and then you go back, that was a short, when he won on the mud going that 1-turn mile, that was a short time, but then got a little bit of time and ran well again. So I think the time off is the biggest thing for Silent Malice here today.
Yeah, and he's got Solomon's got 2 in here. Know How I Know, right? And that one is going to go out. I mean, that's the key. He's going to go.
Gone.
That helps things with Silent Malice. our hoisted mass has some speed. Fortune's Fool, a little bit of speed.
Yep.
Fortune's Fool, I expect a little bit better race, dropping down and down for the tag. Caught 3 wide out of a very fast race. I think the number was like a 94 to win that.
Correct.
The 3-back race was good. So I think Fortune's Fool might best option just kind of sit down inside and maybe get first run over CLUBMAN and Silent Malice in there. Let's go to the 4th, Callie.
Yeah, let's dig into the 4th. Now, race number 4, maiden claiming 30 for the 8 furlongs mile here on the turf. But let's kick into my pick 6 ticket really quickly first before we get on to the rest of these races. If we can get that ticket up, thank you. Would appreciate it. Oh wait, no, race 5. Excuse me, that was my mistake, guys. So wait, let's take into the number 6 stimulus maker. You and I both have him on top. Just going over this horse. His horse typically is a little bit of a front runner, but I like the change of pace last time out, where they took him back and made a little bit of a run at the running to the wire, a little bit at the wire. So a short stat. He's second. He's doing well second on the turf for Hugh McMahon, but I like the perfect type of placement. The biggest thing is that this horse changed up style a little bit, and that's the winner for me.
Okay. Yeah, the transfer to the turf was good. Best number that he's ever run, right? Turf or dirt. Yeah, it was the turf debut, duh. But this guy, they had high hopes. This horse was a half to name changer horse that we saw run around here, made a lot of money, over $500,000, but was able to work out a trip from just off the pace. There's some questionable kind of front running types that I'll say not necessarily need to lead, but are not bringing a final kick. Yeah, the last 3/16 of a mile. I think this horse will sustain along with the last sip. Hugo's, with the 9 as well. Last time out, hung wide every step of the way. Bigger field last time, a little shorter today. We'll be able to drop in and save some ground. I don't want to see this guy 4 wide past the 5/8 pole. Drop in and save some ground, get some cover. A little bit, sketchy late, drifting all over the place. I might have been a little tired, the wide trip, and just flattening out.
Those are my notes exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I got tired from that drift out late, so that affects a lot. You have a lot of these speed horses in this race that are just going to murder each other once we get to the top of the stretch, and it happens often, especially here on the turf. This is where these types of horses, the last skip, will come in there the last couple of strides and just knock it with all of these essentially cheaper speed coming at it from the beginning.
I like it. Yeah, Captain Quint. They all kind of key up against Ripken. Quite a few horses here. A trouble beginning last time. A little freshening. Every right to improve a little bit here later on as they go into 3-year-old year. Class Wizard. Another one. I just kind of like the move. Trombetta throws some darts sometimes. Inside stunt came back to win. Sprinting on the turf. Why not? Some value there with the 36935.
Absolutely. Now we're on to race 5 for the claiming 16, 6 furlongs on the dirt. Now we finally have my Rainbow Pig 6 ticket, where I start off in a single with Miss Foxanne in this race. Race number 6, I go with the 2 and the 4. Race number 7, 1, 4, 10. Race number 8, 2, 3, 8. Race number 9 is where I go wide with the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 5. And race number 10 is where I triple down with the 1, the 6, and the 7 for a $43.20 ticket to get you started. I could go. I'm not going to dive into that ticket because we're going to dive into these races. So let's kick into Miss Foxanne for Dale Bennett, Xavier Perez. Dale Bennett doing it relatively okay, consistent, third after the layoff, but is the need the lead type. Lately hasn't been getting it. You've got Xavier on the rail. That's going to give Xavier a little bit more pressure to really get this horse going out. Again, you're dropping down in class, and this is the proper spot anyway since she broke her maiden at the 25 level. Either way.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm using her here. It's a dead send from the inside. It's got to be, I would think.
Yes.
Which Forte shows up, dropping down, keys up 2 races back against a way to return. Wicked Hot, who we're going to see later, who's going to take plenty of play against a better field. So on the engine, just go, go, go. Fortes will probably prompt the issue. Should be right there. I mean, the rest of the field, I don't know. So your value shot in here, mixed best bet yet. Susan Cooney on a great run right now with her run. Is this guy, filly, she lost all chance last time.
She did.
You see the comments, steady to start in tight, 3 and 4 wide. The speed was good. Green Eyes just kept going and going and going. The 2-back try is what caught my eye. Really held well. Not the most comfortable trip in between horses. So I tell you, with a cleaner break, she can stay in range. Let's say she's going to win it, but I think she makes an impact through the final 3/16 of a mile.
Right. It was just too short of a race for her to be able to make up that kind of mishappening early on. So, nope, definitely the Susan Cooney horses, you want to leave them underneath, as Keith mentioned, and I do agree with him. They have been coming in hot this spring, early summer. Let's get going to race number 6, our allowance, 7 furlongs on the dirt. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Top by 3, by 4, and moving away.
Here we go, race number 6, that allowance, 7 furlongs on the dirt that I mentioned earlier. We've got a video right away on the horse that Keith mentioned, and it is my top selection. Wicked Hot for Graham Motion. Hori Rui on top. It had a little bit of just a bad luck. That was a bad stumble. That was hard to walk away from. So just really what happened was Fergal just got this horse really collected a little bit. Also, we'll get to it a little bit later on. We'll see that the horse stayed on his left lead the last time out. Didn't really hang so much, in my opinion. Tried hard here. Just got to task, settled on task, but didn't hang so much as the winner. I just think the winner just went on, and this guy got a little bit tired, maybe a little bit discouraged. Not so much. He was still relatively doing his own thing. I just think he got tired from what happened earlier on.
You were doubting the Equibase chart colors comment?
I am. I'm not doubting. It's okay to have a different opinion, and I'm having a different opinion.
I love it. I love it. I caught abuse
agree.
from Naomi the last day she was here, and it's going to start right now with you. This is beautiful. I got no chance. Okay, resignation in order.
I'm on top of it. I'm taking those comments, and I go look at that replay, and I'm like, is this my take on it?
Okay.
So no, wicked, but yeah, it looked like the horse hung, but I just took it as the horse just got tired from what happened earlier.
She got obviously a lot of trouble early. She figured to be up closer to the lead. She needed the race. He did a good job kind of getting her to settle behind horses into the turn, around the turn. Made a good run, but stayed on that left lead. Okay. That's the negative.
Right.
Positive, it was against the grain of the racetrack, so you kind of give her a little bit of a pass maybe.
Sure.
Because on the 3rd and the 4th, we talked about it on the show, Callie, that she wanted to be towards the inside. Yeah, she's back. She's going to have more speed. She's going to bring some speed in here. I think, no doubt, with a good break. She's forward. Second off the break for these kind of horses for Motion. It's a big, big percentage. I go to the 5. Click to confirm. I've always liked this filly. I mean, she's kind of done almost everything you've asked of her. Right. She didn't like it. I can't say she didn't like the turf. She was in a tougher bunch. Tried to stretch it last time out. No good. This looks like a really, really good spot. She's banging against some heavy heads. Bazinga C, 3 races back. Came back recently to run a stake at Penn National. Perfect kind of stalk and pounce spot for her.
Right, and we're back.
Turning back.
Of course, turning back. Turning back, and I'm not quite putting a red line through that last one, but turning it back to a surface that I think she's going to appreciate more. And I think she's also going to appreciate the 7 furlongs a little bit. I mean, I'm a bit hesitant to say it, but if she can get that similar type of trip where she's been, and where the type of style that she's been running at before she won that allowance, back in the Beyond the Wire, back in that optional, where she kind of gunned for it a little bit. If she can get into that type of situation, yeah, absolutely has a great spot here.
Okay, yeah, swaying to and fro. Will take plenty of play, has worked through the conditions since being claimed 3 races back. Last time out, handled that field, looked pretty much with ease, handy. Another one, though, she stays on that left lead.
Yep.
You know, how many more? Okay, that's my key with her. My question with swaying to and fro. Canoodle. Why the turf going long? You put the blinkers on, you run 2 really good sprint races.
Thank you.
I just didn't understand that move. I'm not a trainer. But, yeah, so back to sprinting.
Back where she needs to
Blinkers staying on.
Yes.
You know, the numbers aren't great, but I mean, she won pretty comfortably both those races with the blinkers. So I'm going to throw her into the mix. Maybe they just couldn't find a spot, opted there and tried something. But I'm going to use her in here in the exact.
I used her as well.
Okay.
She has been training fantastic in the morning. She came out of that, so she's been sharp. She's
right,
really
little inside scoop.
This filly's really sharpened up ever since those 2 wins. And I mean, let's not talk about that turf race anymore. But yes, she's primed and ready to go and give it a little bit, maybe perhaps a little bit more better than the numbers that she has been running in her last recent starts, even with those wins. But race number 7, that allowance 5.5 on the turf. We've got a video on both of our top selection, Keith, which is the number 4 Stony Point here for Shug McGahee, Forrest Boyce, and we're looking at this aqueduct run.
Yeah.
Back when Dylan Davis was on, had that was on the inside, was on the rail, but as you can see, just fires off very, very nicely. And what I like, and I looked at that the race after, she was on the inside early, and she just got shied and just got discouraged. And as we can see here, once that outside horse passes, she does get slightly discouraged, and that's exactly what happened last time out, this 2022 day, or back in June, but it happened a little bit earlier. So really, she just kind of caved it in a little bit. So I like a little bit of an outside post for her today to help her out.
Yeah, she's got some speed to the outside with Lola Flo, who really didn't run too bad at all, right?
No.
And a huge price in the Stormy Blues. The blinkers went on, back on, I should say, and ran quite well. Stony Point, I think, has the ability, shortening up in distance, to sit and rate a little bit. We know we've got the right kind of rider, jockey-trainer combination, just deadly here. And I thought the 2-back race, that video we showed, was a good field. That was a Todd Pletcher first-time North America runner. The third-place finisher came back to run well in a 2 other than state-bred allowance. So, yeah, got a lot of seasoning in debut. A 4-year-old, late to the races, though, right? A first-time starter at 4 there. But I think she's going to be okay. That mare was good, too. I think a Group 1 winner. Stony Point from just off the pace. I look at the 5. Royal Engagement, off since December. Lasix on. Wants to sprint on the turf. Made the move going long. Middle move in that Grade 1 up at Woodbine. The sprint try was good. Mrs. Barbara came back and ran in Florida Oaks, and was a pretty close 4th in there. I think this one's going to be ready to go for Michelle Lova. I'm not worried about this first time with trainer comment. Plus, this is a trainer that won a lot of races down at Colony, if I'm not mistaken, last year on the turf. Good with the turf horses. Royal Engagement will get some speed to target and rallies into it.
I think that horse might come at a little bit of a price as well, so I'm going to like that later on down the road when we hit the afternoon. Race number 8, the Caesar's Wish Stakes, our first stakes in July for the Sizzler Day. A mile here on the dirt. We've got a video on your top selection than what mine is. A second choice, the grass is blue for Graham Motion. This is a filly that's got a lot of history, a lot of back class, but an interesting path overall for this filly. But what you do notice is that she just shies a little bit from the gate, wasn't able to didn't have the cleanest trip, and then it ends up going a little bit wide and coming down here. But a proven winner on the route of ground. This was basically, I feel like this was just a prep race for this filly coming in.
Yeah.
That we're looking at.
Has matured nicely, right? 3 and 4. I was kind of against her this day. I think no way, 5/8, a little tune-up. Tune-up, my eye. Right on by after the early adversity to win with something left in the tank. Proven to be able to go long. Should sit a very good stalking trip here. Dangerous for Motion from just off of it. I think this horse will lay close, especially coming off of that 5/8.
She will, absolutely, for sure. I have a feeling that the Motion horse is going to take a lot of money, so I did try with the Russell horse on top. I think it's intriguing. It has enough back class, but enough to get a stakes win here. Plenty of speed on this race with with a little bit on the outside. Really, I think they just gave this. They gave the filly a little bit of time, and Brittany Russell gave this filly. She went in going for the guns, but I think this filly just needed a race, and so it's not a bad situation that we're going to the mile for this filly. So looking back at that Delaware run, she ran well. She tucked out. Looking at her form, it just seemed like she needed a race, like she did in between the Weber City miss and then winning that allowance optional over at Parks when she was back with Linda Rice.
So I mean, she definitely figures she likes the distance. Grass is blue. So they all kind of key up against Miss Leslie in here. She's run a little bit better against better fillies. We'll see.
We'll see.
Too. We got the scratch, right? Is the one?
The one is out.
Did come out. I just wanted to make
one
sure
is a
of that.
scratch. Eating Meeny Miny Mo, which I thought was going to be an interesting play in the race, but regardless, it shows up a couple different ways interesting. I also
Yep.
go with Rudy's horse underneath Glow City. I
All
feel
right.
like this is a typical Rudy move. This is where he kind of comes in at a price and really primes them up. Claimed the horse, broke the maiden, entered for that optional, and it wasn't a disrespectful run. So this is what Rudy does. He improves horses, and slowly but surely, Glow City is gaining a little bit in those numbers. And I think we're going to get to see a better performance than we've seen the last 2 times.
All right. Glow
Yep.
City and Whole Bodemeister now.
Sure.
The other Hemingway horse stays. Toss the slop. Go to the front. Might take him a ways in here.
Yep.
All right.
I
Ninth.
see
Good
it.
race here coming
All
up.
right, let's go. Let's go to race number 9 with the Concern Stakes, 7 furlongs here on the dirt. Let's steal for a video on a horse that we both have underneath the 2, Scaramouche for Guadalupe Preciado and Sylvester Gonzalez. This is a horse that is a proven winner at the 7 furlongs here. So that's the biggest takeaway for me with this horse. But there are others that are quicker. This Scaramouche, we're dealing with a lot of horses that have quick gait speed, and you really have to. This is where you do split hairs, and I think Scaramouche is going to have a little bit of a challenge, especially on that inside. But as we see, he was able to handle some outside pressure and was able to go along with it. But I think he's going to get even more pressure this time out. I'm not quite sure that this horse guy is going to land on top today.
It's the tough race. I mean, because
Very
you've
tough
got
race.
speed horses. Some of these horses are undefeated
Right.
with Lasix. The Lasix is on today, so you've got that factor. And both Scaramouche and Defend, they're quick. Their best races, right up on the engine. But who's to say they can't sit and rate just a little bit? Tough call here. I know who's fast and who was kind of against the grain last time was Old Homestead. 2-back try, ran really, really big. That try in Lafayette Stakes at Keeneland was good. Now, that was kind of attractive. Had a little bit of moisture. Loved it.
Yep.
Outran some really good horses. I think Lasix back on today. Old Homestead going to be awfully tough. Will be a shorter price. A lot of hope on the home track here.
On the home track,
Ton of
coming off the
adversity.
pace.
Yeah, ton of adversity on May 21st out of that race, out of the Chick Lang.
Yep.
Came running. This horse was brutalized early.
Yes,
a
it
lot of
was.
hope. I think will love what's going on up front and rallies into it.
Absolutely, and that's why I have this horse just right underneath it, as
Okay.
well as you do. So I've got some hearsay about that Cal Lynch horse. I hear that Cal Lynch horse is a pretty serious horse. I think this horse is going to have the ability to rate a little bit when asked. Now, the ones in the hopeful rushed for it. That was a tough ask second time out. So I think this is a horse that will have the ability to rate and go on with it and maybe be able to handle a little bit of that match race a little bit better early on. I think that's my opinion.
So you had the word. You got some word. I
there's-
didn't hear
I
any
got-
word before the show today or anything. Maybe I could have changed my picks.
Maybe
I could have got a
That's
winner.
what happens on the backside. You hear things.
I'm
You-
missing out. See,
you
we're
hear-
upstairs. We're nobodies. Nobody likes us. That's okay.
I just only hear what I hear. It's barn gossip, really. So
All right.
going off of barn gossip, and hey, why not? Here's the day for it. Race number 10, our last race of the day. Starter optional 25.5 on the dirt, and we switched back and forth between the 1 and the 17th between Bartolino and Big Tall Dog. I chose to stick with Bartolino. I'm giving this horse a chance again. This horse is on the rail, going to be coming into that just the same situation as last time, and had a little bit of trouble. And so I'm giving this horse a chance to be okay and overcome that trouble a little bit. He was able to do it back in that allowance, going long, of course, but this horse can get comfortable in that type of spot.
Yeah, he's versatile enough. He's going to sit somewhere right in range. I don't know if he's as quick as the horse just to his outside and phase out, who's pretty quick. Going to go Jimmy the Kid's got some speed, going to try the turf for the first time. But Bartolino should get that stalk and move into it kind of trip. I go with Big Tall Dog. Kieran's got this guy
Tell me about him.
great form. Back numbers, he's got a win over the turf course, a top buyer of 78. I think something in that range, like a mid-70 number, can do it. A lot of grit last time, just missed. 7 on the rocks, got a great ride to kind of work in between horses on the dirt. But Big Tall Dog will sit mid-back. And they've been trying to get this guy back on the turf, and they got it today.
Yeah, so I think especially with that, I like Danny on this horse. I like Satino on this horse, but to give the horse the ride he needs, especially on that outside post. So yeah, that's why I went with Big Tall Dog. A lot of just interesting horse with the farrier horse having a spitball, trying him on the turf, taking him back. I feel like again, Farrier is experimenting right now. He's getting a little bit more adventurous on the turf, so I'm giving him a chance to do something with it for Spitball. So I think he's going to be able to sit, again, a mid-pack type that should be able to come out rocking and rolling. Okay, so that's our card for today. Let's kick on the lightning round, guys. We've got plenty to talk about. Guess who's back? Sheldon Russell. Oh, you guys can go ahead and with the sound.
We knew going in today that he's a pretty cool horse. He's been one of my daily gallops every morning. I'm very comfortable with him. You can see in the post parade he's as cool as can be. I want to say good job to Eric Camacho, who gets on him every other day, because I mean he's always been all class from the start. So he was a great first ride back. And time-wise, it's been the longest I've been off. And I would say it's probably the toughest just because it was my foot. Not being able to walk for 4 months was very hard. The rehab, we've done 3 months of rehab. I ended up taking the screws on the plates out the third. There were times where I didn't think it was going to get better, but as we all know, if you give it enough time, everything heals. So just fortunate enough to be back in the saddle today. I've got to say a huge thank you to Justin, one of the owners, for trusting in me. I mean, he knows the horse has been working really good in the mornings. It would be an easy out to put one of the top jocks on him, but he gave me that opportunity, and I'll forever be grateful.
Sheldon's back. Sheldon's back in action today. So he was back in action yesterday. Getting him and talking about him, I understand. I understand a little bit of not putting. I've had a similar type of injury where you can't put weight on that foot, and it's a lot to come back from. So for him to have to go through all that, it's a frustrating type of injury to come back from. So kudos to him. He looked great. Looked fantastic. Everything went hunky dory there for his first time back.
That was heldish and broke sharp, straight, right to the front, and he just nursed that one along. Took a little pressure, and you saw it through the wire. He just steadily hand riding that horse and had something left in the tank. Good to see Sheldon return. Did he thank his significant other or no?
He did.
Oh, he did.
He did in the winner's circle.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. We didn't get that. We didn't get that part into the sound.
Oh, okay. He better. He
well,
better.
it was exciting too because the owner, Justin Horowitz, that was his first horse that he's owned.
Oh, really?
That was his first
Awesome.
win. First win as an owner ever. So that was a great tie-in for Sheldon to come back to. But not only did we get a Brittany Russell, Sheldon Russell winner, but we had a day of doubles yesterday. We had 2 combinations of husband and wife. So we had Sheldon Russell and Brittany Russell, and then we had Albert Delgado and Allison Delgado, as we can see here on the screen, winning. So then we cut to Sheldon. We cut to Miss Old Bay, and then we've got Fergal Lynch and Graham Motion, who won 2 together yesterday. So a nice day of doubles yesterday. I thought it all tied in pretty nicely.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Allison and Albert. Albert with a couple wins, right? He had one the other day, and that's good. Allison, she's been around doing a lot of good work. Miss Old Bay, how did you not have her, right? 4th of July, steam crabs. I mean, geez, and we're in Maryland, so a little bit of a hunch play there with the Miss Old Bay. Good to see. Not a big outfit, so I love it when they get to the winner's circle.
They do. They work. Everybody works very hard, but it's always nice to see the little outfits come out and do very, very well with the starters that we have. But let's kick on to your best bet of the day, Keith.
All right, best bet, Stony Point, race 7. Save the horses coming off the layoff. Was that Royal Engagement? I don't want to get the name wrong. Yeah, Royal Engagement. I think a little drop, in competition, shortening up in distance. Yeah. I think this horse is just going to sit a great trip on or just off the pace, like the 5/8 and like the company today.
Definitely.
Won't be a big price, though.
It won't be a big price, but it's a solid price, and that's why we call it a best bet.
Okay.
So let's get on to your value play of the day.
Value play isn't on top of my picks, but mixed best bet yet. The horse off the trouble, I think, will rebound today with a closer performance. There's some speed to target. Just, had a really good effort 2 races back and not a really comfortable trip at all, but lost all chance. Just put an X through that last one. I like the willingness. I like the way the barn is going right now. Exactly, and we mentioned that earlier. The horse. I would definitely put some money down on that horse. Absolutely, I agree with you in all ways, Keith. Okay. Let's get to Dave Rodman for scratches and changes. Thank you very much. Let's have a wonderful day of racing. All righty. Good luck, everybody.